All right, Shalom. First and foremost, as always, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to our powers. Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ruach HaKodesh. Hey, give it the honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that have told us this truth, that are constantly ruling well through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Hey, peace, mercy, and blessings to the beloved Icam that are out there pushing this word wholeheartedly in truth and in sincerity, that are not wavering to the left nor to the right, but constantly staying on that straight and narrow, fighting for your crowns in these last days that we are truly living in. Even shalom to the few sisters, the Aguas that are out there. Even shalom to the Israelite foreigners, those that may look like the other nations, but their seed line is going back into our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I'm the brother Ira, coming back with another lesson to the Lord willing, edifying, feed the lambs of the Lord, which I do pray this lesson is edifying, concise, and straight to the point. Alright, Shabbat Shalom to all you beloved brothers that are out there sincerely serving Yahweh by Shema Shai in truth and in sincerity. Okay? And pretty much this lesson I want to go into is the wheat and the tares parable. Alright, concerning what Yahweh Shai was teaching, alright, about Israelites that may look like the other nations, as well as the other nations which primarily focusing on the nation of Edom looking like the Israelites, all right? And how this is done is by the way of, men laying down with women, and their offsprings can become to start looking like the other nations, okay? And there's a major stumbling block amongst those that are not spiritual, and Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, has set that up for a particular reason, okay? But this parable goes into the fact that not all nations will be saved as well, okay? And, before I get into the parable, I want to start with Galatians, really the first chapter, all right? Because the beloved apostle Paul, which you have men that says that his writings are not authoritative, this was a man that was instructed and taught by Yahweh Shai himself. So he was on accord with Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai through the Spirit to be sent forth to actually go and teach the Israelite foreigners, which the Israelite foreigners are also called Gentiles as well. And you have two separations. You have the natural Gentiles, which are the heathen nations, and you have the Israelite foreigners, which have became Gentiles due to their practices and them leaving their first estate, all right, which is the law, statutes, and commandments that Yahweh Ba'ashem Shai has given his people, started with Moses on Mount Sinai, turning the oral law into a pretty much, putting the laws on the tablets and the stones, all right? As the scriptures say that the words have became flesh, okay? So I want to start with Galatians chapter 1 and verse 11 in the NLT. It says, "Dear brothers and sisters, I want you to understand that the gospel message I preach is not based on mere human reasoning. I received my message from no human source, and no one taught me. Instead, I received it by direct revelation from Yahweh Shai Mashiach." All right, so Paul himself, he received these instructions, these revelations from Yahweh Shai, all right? And one thing that Paul was instructed to do was to go and bring the light, which is this gospel, this good news, unto the Israelites that have been scattered abroad, okay? Because Israel numbers as the sand of the sea, all right? Let's get this word real fast.
Strong's G 602. Apocalypsis. Apocalypsis.
The word apocalypsis is laying bare, making naked, a disclosure of truth, instructions concerning things before unknown, right? Which was made manifested when, Yahweh Shai actually knocked Paul off of his high horse, all right? in the book of Acts, the 26th chapter in the 14th verse. Okay, Yahweh Shai spoke to Paul in the Hebrew tongue. Okay, Acts 26 and 14. It reads, and when we were all fallen to the earth, I heard a voice speaking unto me and saying in the Hebrew tongue, all right, because we are Hebrew Israelites, okay, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? It is hard for thee to kick against the pricks, okay, because Paul was appointed to actually imprison or murder those that were believers in Hamashiach Yahushai, okay? So that's how Paul or Saul was persecuting the Lord, because he was persecuting the believers. But Yahushai converted him in the right direction, okay? He opened his mind up. Let's go to verse 15. It says, and I said, who art thou, Lord? And he said, I am Yahushai, whom thou persecutest. But rise and stand upon thy feet, for I have appeared unto thee for this purpose, to make thee a minister and a witness both of these things which thou hast seen, and of those things in the which I will appear unto thee, delivering thee from the people and from the Gentiles, unto whom now I send thee, okay, to open their eyes and to turn them from darkness to light, and from the power of Satan unto Yahweh, that they may receive forgiveness of sins and inheritance among them which are sanctified by faith that is in me. All right, because these Israelites that may look like the other nations, okay, they have an inheritance, all right, because they're the seed of Yasharallah, okay? And as Paul had made statement in the book of 1 Corinthians, the first chapter, he said that he beseeches that we all be of a like mind, okay? All right, and many are not coming in the like mind of Yahushai via the way of the things that they're teaching, saying that the nations can make it when that is not so. Salvation is only for the children of Israel, all right, the elect of Yasharallah. 1 Corinthians 1 and 10, now I beseech you, brethren, by the name of our Lord Yahushua Mashiach, that ye all speak the same thing, and that there be no division amongst you, but that ye be perfectly joined together in the same mind and in the same judgment, okay? All right, and men are being found out to be in an apostate spirit, you know, imposters, men that have crept in underwear, okay? And these are men that you have to beware of, okay? And this is why you have to be studious, you have to be in the spirit, okay? Because understanding these scriptures will keep you in a sound state of mind, not in a state of confusion, all right? Now, what I have on the screen is the tares look identical to the wheats. So you can't really tell the difference between the tares and the wheats, okay? Which is very spiritual. All right, let's get Matthew chapter 13. Let's jump straight into this. All right, in verse 24, okay? And it reads, it says, another parable put he forth unto them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which soweth good seed in his field, okay? And this man that had soweth good seed in the field is the Most High, Yahweh, okay? And the good seed are the children of Israel, okay? And the field represents the world. Let's grab a precept real fast, all right? Let's go to the book of 1 Chronicles, okay? Chapter 16 and verse 13. It says, O ye seed of Israel, his servant, ye children of Jacob, his chosen ones. All right, so the chosen seed or family of the earth are the Israelites. It says, He is the Lord, Yahweh, our power. His judgments are in all the earth. Be ye mindful always of his covenants and words which he hath commanded to 1,000 generations, even of the covenants which he made with Abraham, and of his oath unto Isaac, and have confirmed the same to Jacob for a law, and to Israel for an everlasting covenant. Okay, so these are the people that have received this goodly inheritance, all right, this everlasting covenant, all right, and it was not so to all the other nations of the earth. As the scriptures tell you, out of all the families of the earth, the Lord has only known the children of Israel. As it tells you in the book of Psalms that the Most High declareth his statutes and judgments unto Jacob, and Israel has he only known. Okay. Now, verse 25 in Matthew 13 and 25, it says, But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went his way. Now the enemy is dealing with the Edomite man. Okay. All right. And what lets you know that the children of Israel has enemies? Let's go to the book of Psalms chapter 83. And let's start at verse 2. We're going to get straight to the point. Matter of fact, let me get this in the NLT. Psalms chapter 83 and verse 2 in the NLT. It says, Don't you hear the uproar of your enemies? Don't you see that your arrogant enemies are rising up? They devise crafty schemes against your people. They conspire against your precious ones, right? Again, the precious ones, the Israelites. Come, they say, let us wipe out Israel as a nation. We will destroy the very memory of its existence. So these other nations want to wipe out the children of Israel, okay? All right, and when Yahushua comes to the planet Earth via the second time, the scriptures say that he shall not meet the world as a man. And when he comes, he's coming to get vengeance upon all the enemies of Israel. Okay. It says, yes, this was their unanimous decision. They signed a treaty as allies against you. And who's the first one? These Edomites and Ishmaelites and Moabites and Hagarites and Gabalites and Ammonites and Amalekites and the people from Philistia and Tyre. Assyria has joined them to and is allied with the descendants of Lot. Interlude. Do to them as you did to the Midians and as you did to Sisera and Jabin at the Kishon River. All right, so the point is of me going into Psalms 83 is to show you that the Israelites have enemies, okay? And the main enemy to focus on, as we're reading the parable in Matthew 13, right? The wheats and the tares, is that the main enemy are the Edomites, okay? Because see, these Edomites, all right, they ravished, they raped our woman, okay? And they did sow their seed unto the Israelite woman, all right? And you would have the Israelite woman bear children on the plantation when we were in captivity, right? And this happened throughout, Central, South America, the islands, okay, Europe, all right? This has happened in various locations where Esau has had conquered our people, all right? And the part of war that nobody wants to talk about is your woman get taken, okay? And especially on the plantation when we were here, while we here in America, back in cattle slavery, okay? They would take our woman late at night, pop her, take her virginity, maybe run a train on her, and then send her back to the Israelite man, and she would be pregnant with the seed of the enemy, okay? And the seed will come out light skinned, or somewhat dark skinned. All right. And just imagine how, you know, that seed actually laid down with an Israelite woman, if it came out a male, right? And then it would just keep producing more tares. It would keep producing more tares, okay? All right. So let's read that again, right? In the book of Matthew, chapter 13 and 25, it says, "But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares amongst the wheat and went his way." Now, let's get this word wheat. Let's get this word tare, okay? Because it's important to know, right? Let's get the Greek word.
Strong's G 2215. Zizanion. Zizanion.
Zizanion, a kind of darnel resembling what except the grains are black. Now, let's go a little bit deeper, right? It says Zizanium tares, a kind of darnel, a bastard wheat, right? A darnel is a bastard wheat. Now, let's go to the law, right? In the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 23 and verse 2, it says, "A bastard shall not enter into the congregation of the Lord, even to his 10th generation shall he not enter into the congregation of the Lord." So right here is showing you that only Israelites are able to be saved, okay? And even if another nation wants to lay down with an Israelite woman, that child would become a bastard, okay? This is the true meaning of what a bastard is, which is an illegitimate child, okay? The Hebrew word is mamzar or mamzar, which is a bastard child of incest, an illegitimate child. A bastard, it says mixed population. And then it says born of a Jewish father and a heathen mother, or vice versa, which this is going off. Because when you actually go into the word seed, right, especially in the Greek, it gives you the word sperma, okay? So a man lineage or heritage or genealogy is determined based upon the father's seed, okay? And there's a heavy process between the correlation of a man passing the seed through a woman. All right, it's a lot of the way the Most High made it is very intricate. The DNA, even the sperm is able to pass through the woman's blood barrier, travel through her bloodstream, and even enter into her brain. Okay, which the brain it's the BBB, which is the brain blood barrier, which is able to affect the part of her system to where she begins to come like the man that she slept with. Okay, all right, and it's supposed to make her want to conceive a child. Okay, it's a very it's a lot of information behind it, but the seed plays a large role within a male. It's more than just sperm, okay? All right, it's DNA sequencing codes and things of that nature just within that, what you call it, senile or something fluid, okay? Brothers could look it up though, all right? But the point is that the male carries the X and Y chromosome, and the male passes on his genes to the woman, and she incubates that seed, and it grows up to be whatever the father was, going to the pedigree of the male. All right. So if a heathen man was to lay down with an Israelite woman and he had a baby with her, then that seed would be a tare. Okay. All right. And that means that seed would be a bastard. Okay. If an Israelite man lays down with a heathen woman, that seed would still be an Israelite baby, okay? And there's examples of, King David's lineage, right? Ruth, remember Ruth was a Moabite, right? And there's other women that were, heathen women that Jake laid with, and they're not exiled out of the congregation. Okay. All right. So that definition is going off. So just to give you an understanding of, what a bastard truly is. All right, let's read it again. Deuteronomy 23:2. A bastard shall not enter into the congregation of the Lord, even to his 10th generation shall he not enter into the congregation of the Lord. So now, like I was saying, Paul was on the same accord with Yahweh Shai, because he also understood and knew as he was teaching that these other men as well as women that may have looked like the other nation, right? When they heard the words of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, they were drawn into it because their spirit went back into our forefathers. All right, even if they learned the ways of the heathens. Okay, let's get a couple precepts, right? Because see, what men do is they look on the outward appearance, but this thing is very spiritual, right? And that's why we have to be mindful is when we're dealing with other individuals, is that when we deal with them, we have to treat them and watch, their mannerisms, if they're able to accept the word, because see, the heathens can't accept this word. Okay. No heathen will accept the words of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. No heathen will call on the names of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. The names of the Lord are dreadful to the heathens. But to Israelites, the Israelites will take heed to these words. The Israelites will call on the names of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Okay. All right. And the Israelites, the elect in these times, are going to be saved, but all Israel will be good in the kingdom of heaven. Okay. This is Romans chapter 8 and verse 16. The Spirit itself beareth witness with our spirit that we are the children of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Okay. All right. The Spirit. Okay. That's what we have to lean on, is the Spirit. Okay. Right. Now let's get 2 Corinthians chapter 10 and let's go to verse 7. It says, do ye look on things after the outward appearance? If any man trust to himself that he is a Mashiach, let him of himself think this again, that as he is a Mashiach, even so are we a Mashiach. So do we look on the outward appearance to see if a man is an Israelite? No. The Spirit will reveal that a man is an Israelite regardless of how he looks, whether he comes so-called very dark-skinned like a Hamite, whether he comes very whitish like a so-called white man, whether he comes with chinky eyes like a so-called Chinese man. Okay. The Spirit will reveal if that man is an Israelite indeed. Okay. So we don't look on the outward appearance. We look through the lens of the Spirit, right? And that's something that also, let's go back to the book of 1 Samuel's, right? We're getting a couple precepts just lining up with each other. 1 Samuel chapter 16, and let's just go to verse 7, straight to the point. It says, but the Lord said unto Samuel, look not on his countenance or on the height of his stature, because I have refused him. For the Lord seeth not as men seeth, for man looketh on the outward appearance, but the Lord looketh on the heart. All right. And the heart is the Hebrew word lab, which is the mind, the spirit, what a man says, if he's able to receive these words. Okay. All right. You could tell if that's an Israelite indeed. Okay. So that's something important that we have to understand, because a lot of these individuals that might look chocolate can be an Edomite. All right. Dull, no spirit, can't dance, so on and so forth. All right. And they don't vibe with Jakes because they're not lively. All right. Jakes have a lively kind of spirit about themselves. Okay. So let's go back to the book of Matthew's chapter 13, and let's go back to verse 25. All right. Because Paul was in the same spirit as Yahweh Shai. All right. And he was the one teaching the Gentiles. Okay. All right. First it was Peter, but then Paul went and traveled and taught the Israelite foreigners. All right. So Paul knew how to discern the Israelite foreigners. Okay. That's the point I'm making. All right. So let's go Matthew 13:25. But while men slept, his enemy, the Edomites, came and sowed tares amongst the wheat and went his way. Right. Now the wheats are the Israelites. But when the blade was sprung up and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also. Okay, so they grew together, which I showed that image. I showed that image. I showed that image that the tares look identical to the wheats. Okay, you see? You see that image right there? The tares look identical to the wheats. Okay? You can't tell if they're different close up. So what did the Lord say? He said unto them, an enemy, the Edomites, have done this. The servant said unto him, will thou then that we go and gather them up? But he said, nay. Yahushua said, nay, least while you gather up the tares, ye root up also the wheat with them. All right, because it's not our job to make the separation. The Lord will bring in those that may look like the other nations, and they'll be Israelites. Okay. All right. And if they're not meant to, get this word, they're going to be rejected. And then when Yahushua comes, okay, the angels and Yahushua can pinpoint that these are heathens, and they're definitely not going to make it into the chariots. Okay. They're going to be judged. All right. So it says, let both grow together until the harvest. And in the time of harvest, I will say to the reapers, right, the angels, gather ye together first the tares and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into thy barns, right? See the separation there? Okay, what is the harvest? The harvest is the end of the world. Okay, let me see if I can find that. The harvest. And type that in. Let me see if it pop up. Okay. That's what I need to do. Okay. I just need to jump down to the 37th verse, and Yahushua breaks it down. Okay, Matthew 13:37. He says, he answered and said unto them, he that soweth the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world. The good seed are the children of the kingdom, the Israelites, right? But the tares are the children of the wicked one, the Edomites, right? The enemy that sowed them is the devil, the Edomites, right? The harvest is the end of the world, and the reapers are the angels, okay? As therefore the tares are gathered and burned in the fire. Look, they're going to be gathered and burned in the fire, right? Destroyed. So shall it be in the end of the world, right? Now, let me see something real fast. I want to say Joel also goes into that as well. Let me just double check. All right. Let me see. Yep. Joel chapter 3 and verse 12, it says, let the heathen be awakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, Yahushaphat, during World War III, right? We know that Yahushua is coming when those missiles fly. For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. Put ye in the sickle, right? That's what the angels are going to do. For the harvest is ripe. Come, get ye down, for the press is full. The fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. Okay, the Lord has been watching the wickedness of the heathens. So he's going to what? Cut them asunder. He's going to judge them. Okay, it says multitudes in the valley of decision. For the day of the Lord is near, in the valley of decision. All right, the valley where judgment is going to take place. All right, I'm a Godwan here in America. All right, many people are getting ready to get judged in these last days. Okay, all right, I just want to get one more precept. Okay, because it tells you also in the book of Matthew, the 26th chapter, right? That that Yahweh Shai is coming to also make us separate when he returns. Okay, let's end it with that. This is where is it at? Shoot. Okay, let me type it in. Man, let me do it over here. Okay, 25, that's what it is. This is Matthew chapter 25, Shalaki, Matthew chapter 25 and verse 31. When the Son of Man shall come in his glory and all the holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory, and before him shall be gathered all nations, right? And he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divided his sheep from the goats. All right, there's division right there. Okay, the sheep, which are the lost tribes of the Israelites, and the goats represent the other nations. Okay, and he shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on the left. Then shall the king say unto them on his right hand, Come ye blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. So who is the world going to be given to? The Israelites. Okay, which means that the other nations will be subject. All right, they will be beneath the Israelites. They will not be saved. Okay, so there you have it. I pray this lesson was edifying to the Lord's elect. With that, I'm going to say shalom to next time. Shalom, Akim.